Mention the 80s to farmers and you're definitely going to get reactions. Most people in agriculture look at it as some of the worst times in agriculture. And yes, in recent memory, it definitely was. You had a bad economy, you had low prices, you had droughts, you had interest rates that were going through the roof, and farmers had to juggle all that and yet try to survive. Now what's interesting is when you talk to a younger farmer now that didn't go through the 80s, they'll say that now is the worst time in agriculture. Now 1983 in my neighborhood was one of the worst droughts we ever saw. And you pile that on top of the bad prices and the depressed economy, it was a pretty bad time. But I was only 10 years old and I didn't quite understand it. I knew something was weird because my sisters would be like whispering in the corners about how bad the farm was. Mom was like paying extra attention to my dad. But for 10-year-old Robbie, it really hit home when the TV broke down. And when I say our TV, I mean the big old wooden ones, the piece of furniture that weighed 400 pounds, had the tube coming out the back, no remote control, no cable, but hey, it was a TV. And when that broke, I simply thought we would go get a new one or go get it fixed. But Mom said, well, we just don't have the money for that right now. That's when it hit home to 10-year-old Robbie that things were not good. But they got better. The farm economy turned around. My dad made it through. The farm survived. But what about now? Things are different, or are they? What I think about is if we had the resources that we had now back in the 80s, would it be different? What if we had the social media? What if we had the group chats? What if we had the internet? The only real-time information that they had back then was the coffee shops. And when things are negative, that can be a pretty toxic environment. The last thing farmers needed in a depressed economy was that type of negative pressure just crushing down on them. One of the things that people talk about in the 80s that was so bad was what was going on with the lending. There was some things that were going on that shouldn't have been. The first time a bank pulled something that was kind of shady or underhanded, would they have been called out on social media? Would it have stopped it? But to me, one of the most disappointed things in this argument is when we talk about mental health in agriculture. Back in the 1980s, it was a stigma. It was embarrassing. You didn't talk about it. And the guys that did, they were looked down upon. You compare that to today, I'm afraid I don't see a whole lot of difference. And that's what makes me sad. I know our Canadian friends are doing a very good job. The Do More Ag Foundation is smashing through barriers. They're making it okay for farmers to admit they're depressed, that they have anxiety, that they need help. And then they're providing ways for those farmers to get help. When you're going through these tough times in agriculture, you want to focus on your farm, but sometimes you just can't because of the anxiety and the depression and the pressure to do good, the pressure to provide for your family. I know we can do a lot better. The farm economy is going to get better. Then it's going to get worse. But hopefully that next time when it gets worse, when we do the comparisons between now and the 80s, we can at least say we don't have the stigmas on mental health in agriculture like we did then. It is so much easier now for farmers to get help and not have that additional weight weighing down on their shoulders. I'm Rob Sharkey. I want to hear your thoughts on this. So go to sharkfarmer.com and shoot me an email. For more videos like this, go to agriculture.com/TV.
Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great videos.